All right, Richard Fox, obviously the K4 boys are pretty distraught about what happened. What did happen?
Well, yeah, clearly that's a big disappointment. They came into this event, as they have in the last few years, aiming for a podium finish. They had a tough heat chasing down Hungary. They didn't get past to get the direct line through to the final, had to go through the semi-phase, and they didn't have a good front half of the race. They didn't get into a dominant position, and then were chasing for the line and fell short. So that's a disappointment for the crew, for the team. But at the same time, it's a massive piece of learning in terms of the changes that were made leading into the competition. That basically was a seating change. Tate Smith moving back to seat 2, David Smith coming up to the front, and that was untried. It was a risk, and obviously they paid the price for that.
Do you think in hindsight that was wise? I mean, I know they were hoping it was going to freshen the boat up, and if it had come off, they would have been claimed as pulling off a masterstroke, I suppose.
Oh, I think it's just part of the journey. There's always a reason you make those changes after a long period of time in a formation. They're looking for something extra. The indicators around that, the crew, the coaches, they wouldn't have proposed that change if it wasn't working in the training environment. So obviously there was some theory behind it, and to not succeed, to not take it through into the result of the World Championships means they've got to think hard about that formation and break it all apart in terms of what led to that performance. But what I see, we haven't done the full debrief, is that it was a very tough heat. They chased the win in the heat. They didn't get it. Had a tough semi. In that formation, they were untested in competition, in the heat of battle.
2 years out from Rio, no need to start panicking, is there?
Oh no, absolutely not. When you look at the individual qualities and the experience in that crew, I think there's a lot of opportunity going forward, and that's a bad race from those guys today. They'll be the first to admit it, the first to take the responsibility for the changes coming in, and in a sense, with a dominant force like that, they've been together. It's probably a good thing to have to ask those tough searching questions now, and with the pool of athletes we've got in that boat and outside of that boat, we've got great potential going into Rio. Absolutely. I guess what I'm saying is that we have a strong crew that made a change, didn't perform well here, and they'll take that back to the drawing board and examine it and look at the preparation cycle. A lot of things have changed since London, in the sense that their lives have moved on a little bit, midway through the cycle, mature age athletes, and now with 2 years to run into Rio. What's happened here today means there's a real sharp reality check. That's the starting point for the discussion.
Let's talk about some positives though. I mean, there have been some really positive signs here, and none more so than the K2 boys who were sort of put together just before this event. This Kenny and Lockie, I know they've still got a final to come, but just from what we've seen so far, you must be pretty happy with the way that's looking.
Yeah, it's step by step, isn't it? You go through each phase of the competition. The final's another race. The K2 was untried in competition, so that's a combination that has worked. That's exciting. They still have to do their finals, so we'll look at that. Same with Murray Stewart through to the final in the K1. So it's it's, as you say, it's not doom and gloom.
And of course Joe and Floody, they've been slowly improving in recent months, and now they're through to an A final as well.
Absolutely, that was a very positive race from them. They're on a steep learning curve. It's the first season of competition for them as a crew. Only a few weeks of training together. I learned from their heat and produced a good finish in that semi to take down some good crews. So that was an exciting outcome. And again, with 2 years to build, there's a lot of positives there.
All right. Well, best of luck for the weekend.
Thanks, Ross.